Hi again then guys, and welcome to a kind of tune which we haven't done in a long time on this channel, and that is of course a speed tune. Now that Special Stage Route X is back, of course usually I would be getting straight into tunes and reviews for the new cars, and we are still going to be reviewing all 8 of those, so don't worry. But I figured that this time is going to be the most crucial for people starting to race online on Route X. So it's very important to get those kind of tunes, which this channel is and was known for, out there so that people can use them. And what better place to start than with pretty much the best street car in the game for this kind of racing, the Enzo. Now I'm going to do the Supra tomorrow and then follow on with a couple of others as well, so you'll probably get the cars that you want to see in this kind of tuning fairly quickly. Now as far as the speed, you can see from the title 278 is what it can hold on its own. It will go even quicker down the hill, so I'm sure there are people who say, well, mine does whatever, mine does 281, mine does 307, you know, whatever. These tunes have never been designed to be the fastest in the world. I've never claimed that. Because for one thing, that logic doesn't work. As soon as you release the fastest tune in the world, it's not the fastest anymore, because now everyone's got it. These tunes are just to help people who aren't confident with tuning to be able to compete, and also to take a tune and then put their own spin on it, see if they can make it even better. So as far as the upgrades go, of course I would recommend increasing the power as high as it can go, reducing the weight as low as it can go. Traction control you definitely want turned off for this track. I'd recommend super soft tyres even for the maximum grip. I know some people like to mix and match with hards on the front, softs on the back, so again you could try that. There's no real need for it though. As far as the suspension, we've got the ride height on 100 for the front, 130 for the back, which is actually fairly equal. It's just naturally higher on the back. The frequency is as high as possible, anti-roll as low as possible. Then for the dampers, all round we've got those as low as possible as well, with neutral camber and neutral toe. If you find it not to be stable enough through corners, especially with slipstream, then you could put the camber up to 1 or maybe even 2 degrees, but it's pretty good already, so you shouldn't need to. The Enzo was quite a twitchy car in GT6. It's not anymore. It's a lot more controlled, but it's also not going as quick, so that kind of explains it. As far as the diff, I'd recommend the lowest initial torque, the highest acceleration and braking, and then for the gearbox, which of course is where it's at for this kind of tune, I'd recommend the fully customized transmission, an auto setting of 217 miles per hour, then for the individual gears, 3.42, 2080, 1440, 1075, 849, and then 650 with a final drive of 3.5. Now of course there are tons of different approaches to doing it. You could do like a crazy 4-speed gearbox with really long gears. There's loads of different things that you could do. So all that remains is, just like back in the day, take it out on Route X to prove how fast it can go. So we've come quite a long way from the potato cam days of doing this kind of thing. In fact, the Enzo was one of the very first tunes I did back in GT6. As far as performance, like I said, you can hold a consistent 278 miles per hour, which I believe on the kilometer speedo in here is like 449, I think, something like that. So if you do extend the final drive a little bit lower, say to 3.4 or 3.45, you can find that 6th gear will have more slipstream potential, but for most of the time it's pretty much good enough. Now as I said, there are certainly tunes out there which can add a couple of extra miles per hour, but that's not the point of this tune. It's designed to help people who are usually nowhere near this quick to at least be able to keep up with the rest of the grid, and sometimes potentially even win. And of course that'll depend on the slipstream settings in the room, all that kind of stuff. And you could certainly improve it yourself if you did a couple of things, you know, raising the front, lowering the back, those kind of acceleration aids. It's all down to you. When you improve one thing, you generally sacrifice another, so better in a straight line but slower or not as good through corners, that kind of thing. So overall, it's very quick. It has a huge advantage over stuff like the Ferrari, which you'll see when we do tunes for those. Because they are hybrids, once the battery runs out on those cars, they slow down a lot because you're just relying on the regular engine. Whereas with the Enzo, that's not a problem at all. So if you do use this tune, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. You will definitely win races with it, especially if you come up against other people who don't know how to tune. And if you want to check out my other tunes, of course, click here on screen. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.